Hey, what is up, guys? It's Twister GA, and today I've got the pay-per-view 194 results, and let's talk about him. So, if you didn't see my last podcast, it was with a friend, and we talked about who we thought would win the matches, and I did really bad. Well, kind of bad, not terribly bad, but I did kind of bad. He isn't here because he hasn't watched the card yet, and he'll probably watch it this Monday. This is Sunday, the day I'm recording it, so he hasn't seen it yet, and we'll see. That maybe we'll upload something with our thoughts on that. But first, I start with the first fight, and I predicted Max Holloway to win this one. So did he, and Max Holloway did win. Now, I personally predicted Max Holloway to destroy Jeremy Stevens, but that didn't really happen. I brought it out from the Cub Swanson fight. Max Holloway was moving around really good. He was switching stances, moving away from the fight, making sure he was in control the whole time. And I thought he moved perfectly in the Cub Swanson fight. Then he beat Charles Oliveira with an esophagus injury, which was kind of hard to watch. And now he was against Jeremy Stevens. I believe that he would beat Jeremy Stevens just because he would outclass him basically in the fight. And it kind of happened. It definitely did happen because he won. But it wasn't as crazy as I thought it would have been. If I look at the numbers, it was 79 total strikes with Holloway, 60 with Jeremy Stevens, 57 significant strikes on Holloway against 47 with the other guy, and one takedown by Max Holloway. So he definitely beat him, but it wasn't as crazy as I thought. I thought it would have been more like the Cub Swanson fight, in which he basically destroyed Cub Swanson. And but that didn't really happen. And he still won the fight. I think he would be a great fight against either Jose Aldo if Jose Aldo needs a fight before fighting McGregor. I don't know if they will do a McGregor fight or anything. That's a spoiler alert, but you guys should, if you're watching this, then you already know the pay-per-view. And I think Max Holloway would get good against Jose Aldo later on, or maybe he'd be the next title fight. I'm not sure how they do that. But yeah, Max Holloway won by very clearly. He just outmatched the opponent. But let's go on to the next fight. It was Damian Maia versus Gunnar Nelson. And now I expected Gunnar Nelson to win. And boy, that wasn't even close. I actually thought this was my favorite fight of the whole UFC event because Damian Maia, the whole jiu-jitsu, the whole ground game was pretty awesome to watch. It was really cool. I mean, Gunnar Nelson got taken out, but he was able to move out of hard positions to move out of. He was able to counter with all the takedowns. He was able to move around. He was never able to get in a good position, though. He was never able to hit Damian Maia well. Total strikes for Gunnar Nelson was 7 against 193 by Damian Maia. So that should give you a good idea of how terribly Maia beat Nelson. It was still an enjoyable fight because it was fun seeing Maia pick him off on the ground, just doing everything he wanted to Gunnar Nelson. But it was fun to see Gunnar Nelson try his hardest to get out of the positions. And he did get out of a lot of hard positions, such as the armbar, if I remember correctly. And it was a good fight. I enjoyed it a lot, but it was 30-25 for most of the scores. So, yeah, Damian Maia was a clear winner. He just out-grappled him on the ground. We never really got to see a stand-up, which is what I thought it would have happened more. I know Damian Maia was one of the best jiu-jitsu guys, but I thought maybe he would try to do some stand-up, and I thought Gunnar Nelson had a better stand-up, but I thought Gunnar Nelson maybe would have had a better takedown defense, but no, he got taken down most of the times, even though, funny enough, every time Damian Maia tried to take down Gunnar Nelson ended up on top a lot of times. But still, gotta give it to Damian Maia. He was really, really good. I'm never gonna pick against him again. So let's go on to the next fight, and that one's done. Ronaldo Souza versus Yoel Romero. Now this one was the dirtiest fight of them all, with Yoel Romero winning against Ronaldo Souza. And I say dirty is because the first thing that Yoel's corner did was they would get him wet right before the break would stop by the end of the break, so that they would give him more time to take a break, and they'd clear him off with the water, dry him up so that he could have some time drying off while he's resting, because maybe he needed extra rest. So they did that, and then the second part was I'm almost positive it was the second round. Ronaldo Souza tries to take down Yoel Romero, and he was succeeding, but then Yoel grabs the cage and flips himself up in a way that lands him on top of Ronaldo Souza, and Souza, basically the ref tells him, you just you did something wrong by grabbing the cage, so let's stand them both up. So they both were stood up, and I think that was bad because, well, Souza basically took down Yoel Romero. Romero ended up on top because he grabbed the cage, and now they were both stood up. So Zosa had to try to take down Yoel Romero again. And if I remember correctly, in the second round, that didn't happen. So it seems like Yoel Romero got the second round because of that. And if Zosa was able to take him down during the second round, maybe he could have dominated him in the second round, won the second round and third. But that didn't happen. Instead, Yoel Romero cheated, basically. I guess is the easiest way you can say it. And took the second round as a victory, it seems, and took the whole fight. So that sucks for Zosa. Hopefully he can do better next time. I mean, even without that, though, Yoel still seemed to be beating him in the stand-up completely. Zosa was a bit slower. Romero clearly won the first round by completely almost knocking Zosa out. Well, he knocked him down, but he not completely out. And then the second round, Zosa still seemed a bit slower than Yoel Romero, even though Romero was already tired by the second round. And in the third round, Romero wasn't able to do much because he was already really, really exhausted. And Zosa was able to take the third round, I believe. But because of the second round and Romero grabbing the cage, he was able to get on top. And then they both had stood up, so Zosa had to try to take him down again, but that didn't happen. And or if it did, I can't remember perfectly. But it didn't matter. Basically, him grabbing the cage negated any advantage that Zosa could have gotten that round, and he ended up winning because of that. So that sucked. Onto the Weidman versus Rockhold. Now, I actually predicted Rockhold to win, which is what happened. Chris Weidman ended up losing to Luke Rockhold. And the reason I thought that Rockhold would be the winner was because Chris Weidman is a very, very aggressive fighter. And Luke Rockhold trains with Cormier and Cain Velasquez. And those guys are as aggressive as they get. So I assumed that he was going to be ready for an insanely aggressive fighter. Chris Weidman, he's fought decent fighters. Well, aggressive fighters, but nothing like Luke Rockhold. I knew Luke Rockhold would be able to counter Chris Weidman's. He would be able to match Chris Weidman's over aggressiveness. And it didn't seem like Chris Weidman was able to take on Luke Rockhold's aggressiveness, which is what I assumed would happen. Luke Rockhold did get taken down a couple times to Chris Weidman, and that was to be expected as Chris is a great wrestler, but he was able to just get the better of him during that, and he ended up basically, he took Chris Weidman down when Chris tried to do a spinning kick, and was it a spinning kick? And then Luke Rockhold grabbed him, threw him to the ground, and started beating him on the second round, and he was on third round, sorry. On third round, he beat Chris Weidman up. Chris Weidman was bleeding all over the place. He was really, really off. Even when he went back to his corner, he was almost falling, so he grabbed onto the cage. Luke Rockhold still looked really good. Fourth round starts. Luke takes Chris Weidman down and just starts pummeling him. And the ref has to stop Herb Dean has to stop the fight because Chris Weidman was just getting beaten down, and he had to protect the fighter, so they stopped the fight. Chris Weidman ended up losing against Luke Rockhold, which I predicted, yay. I actually predicted 2 out of the 5 fights, but I thought the Souza fight was not fair. So I didn't count that as a loss. Last card, Jose Aldo versus McGregor. McGregor, we can just sum it up. McGregor punches Jose Aldo and knocks him out. One hit, 15 seconds, I think it was. The fastest UFC fight of all time. 14 seconds. The fastest UFC championship fight of all time. So now McGregor was able to back up his trash talking, and Jose Aldo got knocked down. Now, I thought Jose Aldo would win the fight, but I was hoping McGregor would win, but I thought Jose Aldo would win just because I felt that Jose Aldo was a stronger opponent than McGregor. But I wanted McGregor to win because I like his cockiness, I like his talking, all that stuff. So a good thing McGregor won, but I feel bad for Jose Aldo because that was a really bad fight for him. He tried to go in with 2 hits, and McGregor just stepped to the side, punched him, knocked him out, and that was it. Lights out from Jose Aldo. McGregor then just did 2 hammer fists, and that was the fight. So not much happened there. We didn't get to see the leg kicks that I was hoping we'd see. We didn't get to see all that. We didn't get to see Jose Aldo taking on McGregor, which I thought might have happened because Jose Aldo was good on the floor. We didn't see anything. I was kind of disappointed it ended so quick. Even if McGregor won or lost, it didn't really matter to me. I just wanted to see a really, really good fight. But we didn't even get to see that. We just saw a knockout, which is fun. It's great, but I really wanted to see them fight. And who knows what's going to happen to McGregor now. If he said that he didn't want to stay at the 145, just because the cut for 145 is really, really hard for him. But now that he beat Jose Aldo with 14 seconds, I know a lot of people do want to see the whole fight, and McGregor can choose if he stays or not. Honestly, he won the fight, so he can do whatever he wants. If he wants to stay at 145 and rematch Jose Aldo, or if he wants to go back to up to 155 and try there. So we'll see. I'm not sure. Let's see what happens to Jose Aldo after this, because if McGregor leaves, it'll leave a bad taste in everybody's mouth, because even if Jose Aldo gets back to become the champion, which who knows if that happens. A lot of champions, after they lose, after being victors for so long, they never get it back. And that could happen here. Jose Aldo never gets it back. Or maybe he could. Who knows? And so if Conor McGregor leaves the featherweight, what's going to happen to that division? Who's going to become champion? We don't know. And people will still feel like, oh, well, McGregor, they never beat McGregor. Sometimes that happens for people. They're like, oh, but they beat McGregor for the championship title. But who knows? And that's basically the quick, not overly complicated breakdown of what happened to UFC 145. Is it worth a buy? You say, yeah, for 3 fights, specifically for the Damian Maia fight, which I thought was amazing. I thought it was really, really fun to watch. The Chris Weidman fight was also really, really good versus Luke Rockhold. I really like that fight. And then the Aldo McGregor, you just have to see it. Although, honestly, you could find that fight in GIF or GIF, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, that's basically it for my breakdown of the UFC 194. That was just a little talk about it. Not too in depth, because I'm not great at going in depth with the UFC stuff. But it was just a little thing of what I wanted to say about the UFC 194. Hopefully you guys like this. If you guys want to talk a little bit, put them down in the comments so we can chat some about the fight. But hopefully you guys liked that, and I will see you guys in my next video on Monday. Bye.